Welcome to today's episode of Respiratory Protection. Today we're going to cover all the basics. When do you need it, what kind, and what filter. Now there are a ton of different products you can buy and you get dizzy just by looking at them. Follow me and by the end of this episode you will know exactly which one you need and when you need it. So for which instance do you need respiratory protection? Well, basically when you are in an environment where there are hazardous particles or fumes or gas in that environment. In my case, in my workshop, that would be when I'm grinding. That could be metal, that could be wood, paint, when I'm welding or when I'm spray painting. Those are the normal instances where I'm using them. Now remember, inhaling dust, paint, particles, gases causes serious health issues. No project is worth your own health, especially not when it's so cheap and so easy to buy these respiratory protectors. You just need to know which one you need. Now they all have the same basic principle. Air goes through the filter into the mask, into your lungs, and as you exhale, it leaves through the vent. The theory is heavily reliant on that the mask, however, gives you a tight seal, that the sealant goes to your skin and there is no leakage of air on the side. If air leaks in from the side, it bypasses the filter and it makes it void, meaning that you will inhale the particles even though you have the mask on you. Now, the first off would be the disposable respiratory protectors. The ones you can buy, usually it's a pack of 3 or 5. You put them on and they are completely worthless. Don't buy them. Why? Well, they don't give a tight fit. If it does not give a tight fit, it means it will leak in on the side and it will not offer you the protection it should. So my advice is don't buy them at all. Now, the next step would be either the half mask or the full mask. Now, either one of these masks, you buy them and separately you buy filters or cartridges, depending on which one you need. Now, if we compare them in case of performance, the full mask always outperforms the half mask in senses of respiratory protection. You always get a better respiratory protection because the full mask gives a tighter seal than the half mask does. So if you want to go full on protection, always use the full mask. It also protects your eyes in the same time, which can make it extremely well suited, for example, grinding. A half mask could be better, for example, using it under welding circumstances. But whichever way you look at it is, the full mask always gives you a better respiratory protection rate, even if you have the exact same cartridge and filter. Remember that. Now, the only downside with these masks is that if you have a beard, unfortunately, you cannot use them safely. Why? Well, it's as simple as this. One hair straw is the size of 150 microns. If you put that in between the skin and the seal of the mask, then in between here, you get the gap of 150 microns. Particles, gas, vapors can become so small as 1 micron or even less. That means they have plenty of space to go in between. It's just like a water leak. If you have a beard, your only option is unfortunately a powered air purifying respirator, such as this. What's the difference? Well, it does not require a tight fit. What it does is that it, through the fan, produces a higher pressure around you, meaning all the air that is around you has passed through this fan. So you don't need a tight fit around your beard. Everything that you will inhale has passed through this filter and is therefore pure air which you breathe. Or well, not pure air, but without contaminants. In your home workshop, which one would I recommend? If you're clean shaven, in an economic standpoint, for sure the half mask or the full mask. Always use the full mask as long as you can. Example would be welding. You can use this with a P3 filter. We're going to go through the filters soon, and that's a perfectly good option. It's quite cheap and you have a very good protection. If you work for long hours, then these masks are not that comfortable. It would be better to go for a system like this. Or if you are like me, you have a wife which will not allow you to shave, then this is your go-to guy. There are two main types of filters. One filter, which is against particles, dusts, etc., and one which is against vapors and gas. Those are usually called cartridges. P stands for particle, and then you have the cartridges. You have A, B, E, and K. They are a bit more complicated, but which is similar for both of them is that you have a number after 1, 2, and 3. 1 is the lowest protection, 3 is the highest protection. When it comes to particle filters, 1 is even off the market. I cannot find it here in Sweden, so you only have 2 and 3. The cost in between them is so little that there is no reason whatsoever to go cheap and buy a P2 filter. Always buy a P3 filter. What does a P3 filter protect against? Well, it protects against a lot. Everything that's visible, all the dust, grinding dust, sawdust, virus even, bacteria. It protects against welding fumes. When welding mild steel, even with a stick welder, it protects against it. You can even weld zinc. That means galvanized steel. It will protect against metal fume fever. However, metal fume fever is a serious disease and you need to be really careful when welding galvanized steel. But in theory, a P3 filter protects against zinc fumes. Vapor and gas cartridges are a bit trickier. It is A, B, E, or K. Now they protect against different things. In my setting, in my workshop, I use A. It protects against anything in spray painting, solvents in lacquer, and that's good enough for me. I will leave a link in the description to 3M, where you just can see what the different cartridges protect against. So you can make your choice on which is best suited for you. How do you know when you need to change filter? A particle filter becomes clogged, so as you breathe, you can feel that the resistance is increasing when breathing. That's when you know when you need to change it. A cartridge for vapor or gas is much harder because if you don't feel the smell of the gas, as this cartridge starts to be saturated, it will leak through and into your lungs. So you need to change this at regular intervals, and that depends on how heavily polluted it is. Just remember one thing, never store these filters in your workspace. If you're working and you store the filter, even though you're not breathing into it, it will still get clogged, there will still be particles landing on it, and you will use up a bit of the lifetime of your filter. As you can see, I have a lot of products from 3M here. I'm not sponsored in any way, it's personal preference. You can buy whichever you want. Just make sure it's CE marked, that you know it is good and it's safe to use. Make sure the mask fits you, and otherwise just buy whatever suits you. Now, which filter for which setting? Anything that you grind, if it's wood, if it's steel, a P3 filter is enough in all those settings. If you weld, this is enough. Welding mild steel, even theoretically now, galvanized steel, you can use a P3. Just make sure that the mask has a perfect fit, otherwise you will lose protection. If you're not clean shaven, then this is your go-to guy. There are no exceptions. Now, when coming into contact with vapors or gas, then you need the appropriate cartridge. You need to check out which one you need, but most producers do, just like 3M, and they have a separate particle filter which you can attach to the cartridge. That means that you get both, in this case, the A2 cartridge together with a P3 filter. Just to quickly highlight the importance of a filter. This is how a brand new filter looks like. And this is how it looked like after one spray painting of a very, very small car. So this, without respiratory protection, would have been in my lungs. So remember, safety first. And that will be all for today's video. I hope you found all the information you needed. If there is something I didn't cover, leave a comment. I will get back to you. This is a new channel. If you found this helpful, please hit the like button, please subscribe, and I will see you in the future.